portion of this video is sponsored by Pro Writing Aid. It's one of those things that feels simply unavoidable. At some point, you will look at your writing and think, what am I doing? This is bad. Why am I writing if I'm not even good at it? Imposter syndrome is a ubiquitous term found in nearly every profession, hobby, or creative endeavor, and none feel it nearly as much as a writer. Imposter syndrome is a pattern of mental internal doubt, and when imposter syndrome hits you, there's little you can do. It's this mentality of, if you're going through hell, keep going. The best way to overcome imposter syndrome is just by understanding it, and more importantly, by understanding how silly it is. To get more perspective, I asked our Discord for their thoughts on why imposter syndrome happens and how to overcome it. So wait till the end for that. So why don't we just start with why most writers feel imposter syndrome. In our Discord, linked below, we have hundreds of writers. We have traditionally published writers, self-published writers, and emerging writers who are looking to finish and share their very first stories. And no matter the level of writer, imposter syndrome can strike. And it predominantly strikes due to one reason. My writing isn't as good as this book's writing. I've seen multiple times where a writer has voiced their woes that they read this book and it made them feel like there is such a gap in skill between what they're writing and what they're reading. And you might see this in regards to authors who are exceptionally talented at prose, like Guy Gavriel Kay or N.K. Jemisin. You might see this in regards to exceptional characters like Kaladin or Ender Wiggin. You might even see this in regards to world building like Dune or the Sun Eater series. You see these works and you say, if this is what it takes to be a writer, then I don't have it. Stop that. It drives me crazy. When you compare your proto-draft, typically is when this happens, to the finished, published manuscript of a book that you love, you will always feel inadequate. Penguin Random House has almost 10,000 employees. HarperCollins has almost 5,000. Tor has 140 listed on LinkedIn. And every person in these companies are at the top of their profession. Editors, cover designers, marketing, printers. When a book is traditionally published, it isn't just the work of the author. It's the work of these huge publishing machines that are consistently putting out high quality, almost flawless works. And they have to. They are the pinnacle of publishing products. They are corporate machines designed to sell books. Each book you read from these sort of publishers are held to an incredibly high standard and are a result of a huge team of professionals. You think that Stephen King isn't making typos? You think that George R.R. Martin doesn't include inconsistencies in his drafts? Do you think Brandon Sanderson nails everything on the first try? I will tell you that he doesn't. In fact, next week's video, we're gonna look at the first draft of a Sanderson book. I know. All of these things are fixed with editing. You can get astounding editing results with the right tools, like the sponsor of today's video, Pro Writing Aid. Pro Writing Aid is the storyteller's toolkit. It's designed to give you feedback that you need to improve your writing. It's designed by writers for writers, and it is a critical part of my own writing process. I picked up a lifetime subscription to Pro Writing Aid 4 years ago. Look right here. And I never looked back. Pro Writing Aid uses dozens of actionable reports to help you understand and improve your writing. In fact, here's a clip from Novella November where you can see exactly how you can use Pro Writing Aid on your own writing. I can run this report. It's going to check everything in the text available on this page. So it's going to be looking at my entire chapter in Scrivener. And it's going to tell me this should take about 8 minutes to read. Hey, this was easy to read. Here's like these different readability scores. But, oh, look at this. There is one specific paragraph in my entire chapter that was marked as very difficult to read. Now I can go here and I can click on this little arrow and it'll highlight what I'm looking at here. Maybe that's because I used the word Chi-Town in regards to Chicago in my dialogue. And Pro Writing Aid was like, Bro, what are you doing? And there are so many more reports to run, ranging from paragraph transitions to dialogue to sticky sentences and more. You can download the Pro Writing Aid Everywhere app and get this feedback in any writing tool that you use. Pro Writing Aid cares about your data. They use bank-level security to protect your stories, and they never use your writing to train their algorithms. You can use my code WritingTheory10 for 10% off of Pro Writing Aid using the link below. Even without the comparison monster, there will likely be times in your proto draft where you feel like the scene that you just wrote or that you're currently writing isn't doing what you need it to do. And moments like these might hit you with that same imposter syndrome because it reinforces this feeling of, I don't know what I'm doing. Like you had a big plan for the story, and in this one scene, you've begun to fail, I guess. Again, so many of these sorts of moments are results of just the draft. Do you remember this old video I did? Stephen King and Anne Lamott both say independently that your first draft will suck. Not so much that it'll be bad and you shouldn't write it, but they both acknowledge that the first draft isn't for you to share with the world. The first draft is just for you to get your ideas down in some semblance of what's going to then evolve. You can't edit a blank page. Once you have your ideas down, then of course you can refine them. Let me give you an example. In my current work in progress, Upon Careless Gray Hills is a crime thriller set in Alaska. I really want these twists and turns of the narratives to be intense. Lots of moments where we find out some bit of information that just changes everything. In some of my scenes, I know that I wrote this big twist moment without the impact that it deserves. But the knowledge that I'm gonna come back to this and amp it up to 11 makes it where I don't feel like a failure for not nailing it on the first try. By the way, you can see me writing that very book in the Novella November playlist link below. It's a great way to make progress in your own writing by writing with me, and then also hopefully like having a good time, I guess. This is the core issue of imposter syndrome. It's when you run into a moment of doubt in yourself. It could be doubt of your writing skill, but it could also be doubt in how you think that you understand your story, or how to execute specific parts of your story. And here's the deal. If you consider yourself to be a pantser, someone who is approaching writing a story with a limited amount of planning, where you might choose to discover the story as you write, you might be wrong. I've found that moments of doubt, like imposter syndrome, hit me most often when I feel like I don't know where to go with my story. Like maybe I'm wrapping up one scene and I'm about to go into the next act and I just don't know a good way to continue the story. And that's probably because you need to do more planning. Now you can limit these moments of stagnation when you're most vulnerable to imposter syndrome by planning your story more. There's also a lot of good advice in this proto draft video. Check that one out. This is one of those things that helps you understand your writing process better. Every time that you write, you understand more of what helps make a successful story. It could be in regards to your writing process, but it could also be in regards to how you write a certain thing. Every single time that you write, you learn. There are no such things as failed projects. And that's one of the best things about writing. Even if you don't finish a story or complete and publish that book, you've done something to further your own understanding of writing. I asked our Discord server, what causes imposter syndrome and how do you overcome it? And here were some of the best answers. Why does imposter syndrome happen? It stems from a writer's perfectionism and insecurity of the craft. It happens when you find yourself comparing your story and sometimes even your worth to the success of another story. Comparison comes up a lot here. One user quotes, "Comparison is the thief of joy," and there's a reason that that story has stood the test of time. How do you overcome it? Well, maybe we should acknowledge that your worth isn't tied to how well you wrote a scene in a story or how good of a writer you are. Overcoming imposter syndrome can also take some introspection. Look inward and try to understand this feeling. Don't just experience it and suffer from it and try to just wait until it goes away. Try to wrap your head around where this feeling is coming from. Also, knowing that others face this same feeling helps push back the idea that you uniquely are an imposter. Look, it happens to me too. A lot of people mention that because it's such an expected thing to encounter that the best way to overcome it is to just keep on writing. Try to push through those moments of doubt, set a realistic goal, and strive to complete that. Most importantly is the idea that your worth as a person, again, isn't tied to your writing. Imposter syndrome hits you in your most vulnerable areas. You need to separate yourself from this idea of worth in writing. Writing is something that you do, not something that you are. Look, you should come and join the Discord community. It is a great group of writers all looking to share advice and resources and constructive feedback. Link below. If you like breaking down stories and understanding the writing process, then like this video and subscribe. We do videos like this every Friday, and every video is made to help you become a stronger writer. And as always, thank you for watching.